All right, it's now 5:30 p.m. So we will call this Monday, February 2nd, 2026 City of Airway Heights Legislative Session to 5:30 p.m. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And honest. Just for the record, if you're wondering why we're normally in our study session chambers, because we're having problems with the external audio in the council court chambers here. So we could be back in a couple weeks. We'll move on to roll call.
Davin Perry,
Present.
Sandra, Carrie Bro,
Present.
Bill Campbell,
Present.
Jesse Camacho,
Present.
Jennifer Martin, present.
All right, so if Larry's on the line, it's all of our guests, so we don't have Cassandra in attendance. Correct.
No, okay.
Okay, what we'd like to hear about the absence of Councilman presenting.
We have to move to approve his own.
Would you excuse?
Move to excuse.
First by Ms. Bro, second by Ms. Morton. For discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Larry, that was a thumbs up in favor, I take it? Okay, yes, that'll pass. To excuse unanimously 6-0. Okay, moving on to the agenda, one addition, like this Spokane County scraps, in a local agreement. So to keep it, before ordinances, we'll call, item I1, and this will become item I2. So we keep it, our items before the ordinances. Council, what would you like to do about tonight's agenda?
Move to approve as amended.
The first by Mr. Campbell, very second. Second by Mr. Camacho, any discussion? All those in favor? Mr. Golden. There we go. All those opposed? That'll pass unanimously 6-0. Okay, no calls for announcements, presentations, council reports. Anything from you, Chair Bowman? Maybe it's be asked to be unmuted too.
All right. Thank you guys for unmuting me. No, I just wanted to say thank you guys for, especially you, Davin, for stepping up while we're in California. And great news to report. My mom had a successful surgery and we had her follow-up appointment today. So everything is looking very, very good for her. So thank you guys.
Glad to hear it, yes. It's just to your mom. No other council reports, moving on to staff reports.
No report. Brad, you got any report?
No report.
I just have one, which Councilmember Wisnell did send me a message indicating that she's unwell. She hoped to get her days on, but
There's no other staff reports. Move on to our public hearing for the 6th of Easy Street PUD plat ordinance C-1112 and resolution 2006-003. Be briefed and open the public hearing. Ms. Chapman.
Thank you very much. I'm the Department Director of Building and Planning. So this has been briefed for the City Council and bringing an image up onto the screen showing the proposed short plat of 10 lots overlaid with a planning and development. Planning and development is a type of rezone that allows for consideration of modification of the development standards, things like setbacks. For example, in exchange for a greater a provision of services on site. In this case, this proposed 10-lot plat is proposing to do private streets, which is allowable through a PUD. So lane A and lane B, which will be named later, would connect Easy Street for service to the homes on the lots. These are proposed as duplex homes, which are allowed in the zone. This property was vested at the time under the former R2 duplex zoning. Today, this is a neighborhood family residential, which does also allow for duplexes. In exchange for items such as the private streets, this proposal includes creating some open space. So I've included here in the image you can see before you the area along 6th Avenue, Easy Street that would be available as open space in exchange for some of these considerations on the development. There has been an entire presentation to the Planning Commission on this proposal, review the decision criteria for the proposed planning and development. The Planning Commission has recommended to the City Council as your advisory body and land use issues approval of this planning and development. The reason it comes before the City Council is a community development is a type of rezone. So it requires legislative action by the council to approve said PUD. If the council were to approve this today, the next step would be the filing of a final short plat for the subdivision of the property with a final PUD that meets any conditions of approval. There was a resolution included in the packet, which goes through the conditions proposed for this development that range from meeting public works standards for water and sewer to stormwater requirements, roadway improvements. There is a proposed dedication for the remainder of Easy Street. You may not be aware of this, but presently Easy Street is only 30 feet wide. It is not a standard 60-foot wide right of way, and this plat would dedicate the remainder of that required right of way so it could complete the East Street public street. During the briefing, we've also covered that this has gone through the mandatory State Environmental Policy Act for the project, as well as review by other agencies for this project. That concludes an overview of the project. We do have the applicant's representative here with Whipple Consulting, if you would like to address any questions or if he has an additional presentation on the proposed plat and PUD for your consideration before taking public testimony.
Hi, my name is Austin Fuller with Consulting Engineers. I don't have any presentations prepared for tonight. I ask you to approve this project, and I'm here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
So after public testimony, there's two separate actions tonight for the council. One is under item 11J, which is for the actual second reading of ordinance C 1112. That's the ordinance for the PUD. And the final action would be under 12 resolution 26003, which is approving the conditions for the project as proposed. So this is just for the public testimony portion of two additional actions by council requested. Thank you.
Thanks for that introduction, Ms. Stratton. With that, I'll open the public hearing at 5:38 p.m. For the public that's got comments. Let's see anyone here in chambers, anyone online because of our new audio system. I guess you can raise your hand if you would like to be asked to unmute for any comments at this time. Not seeing any. Yes, if we saw Michael, did he raise his hand just in case? Is he like to the right of J.D. Mack? Or anyone? Not seeing any hand raised online, no one in chambers. So that we will move to close the public hearing at 5:39 p.m. That moves on to our consent agenda. Item A is the approval of minutes from the City Council meeting, January 20th, 2026. Approval of minutes from the study session meeting on January 26th, 2026. And item C is Architects West contract amendment. Architects West. Council, what would you like to do about this evening's consent agenda?
I think the only thing that I read from the minutes from when we did the nominations for chair, it was you that nominated Jennifer, and it's in the minutes as Jesse. I don't know if that matters.
It's Jesse's what? Oh.
Jesse was the one that nominated.
Oh, yes.
Bill reached out to me today and I did update it, just not in time to get in.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
All right.
That has been updated, but not in the packet.
Okay, move to approve.
Did you approve it first by Ms. Bro? A second.
Second, but I have a question.
Second, Mr. Campbell, and we've got some discussion.
I just had a quick question about the contract extension or amendment. Was, where's Mr. Tripp? There it is. Sir, on the contract amendment?
Yes.
Oh, was just the architectural permit was part of the discussions, the new process we're gonna use to build the new campus. I forget what you call it, the acronym.
The GCCM.
That one. So were they, I guess, I didn't realize we were already at that contracting phase, as a part of that discussion. So we're just gonna roll with these folks.
Contract extension, we proposed rolling with, but this is Architects West. There was another one for OAC, who was a city representative throughout the course of the Park Station bill as well, that we'd also proposed extending their contract, or amending their contract for them to maintain a scope, or sorry, different scope, but for phase 2 and phase 3.
And I noticed that their fee that they're asking for seems to be very accommodating, so I guess I won't raise any any objections to that, so.
Okay, they had to get help to get to that number.
What's that?
We helped them get to that number.
Kudos. Thank you.
All right, that we've got a first and a second on the table. We'll put a discussion. All those in favor? And
Thumbs
that
up.
opposed, that'll pass unanimously 6-0 for the consent agenda. And just as a clerical note before we move on for our new Zoom rules here. Larry, are you able to unmute once you muted back after you were asked? Or is it, do you have to keep being
I
asked?
think I have to.
Okay. I would potentially say as a workaround for all council members and even city staff need to present at the beginning, could we maybe just make them a co-host and is that an option to remove that? I'm just, if we could test it out. Then last week with JC, he couldn't unmute after he was asked the first time and he remuted. So I'd like to try that, yeah.
I think that makes him the host.
Yeah.
You don't have a co-host feature?
Let me Google that.
Actually, you can have that. Well, see if we can get a workaround to that. But that'll go on to item D, the city council assignments, community assignments. If Mr. Tripp wants to share those for later, Chair Bowman and us to see here. We left off last week with some absences with a tentative list, so we need some to fill out and some to remove to get us down to 3 on, for finance, so.
You mind bringing up the agenda packet?
Yeah.
Councilor Terry brings up the list from the discussion last week. I just wanted to acknowledge 2 things. One, I received the email from Ms. Grove in reference to her willingness to serve in any of the areas that the council considers. And then 2, the discussion we walked through the last meeting was very productive. I think we had all of the spaces filled out that we had vacancies for. So mainly I just wanted to draw the council's attention to the finance ad hoc committee, public works ad hoc committee, public safety ad hoc committee. And I think that was it, because presently, as you see on the draft document, those committees had 4 representatives identified for. We're trying to get it down to 3 per the council rules, which identifies 3 council members serving on each committee. And the practical side of it as well is that we are also seeking to avoid those committees turning into a formal meeting of the council, which you get anytime you have 4 members on attendance as opposed to 3. So those are the ones I would probably draw your attention to in terms of required additional action or discussion on the part of the council to determine who sits on the respective ones. But apart from that, I also encourage the council to just consider, are you comfortable with the existing slots in terms of the way they're filled? And if there are other opportunities to move those representatives around, to include Ms. Burrow, who wasn't here at the last meeting, so.
Yeah, it's whatever works. It's fine. Sorry. It's great.
Yeah, and just, is it shared online too? I guess, so this can zoom see it. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry, I've had my time, 4 years, learned a lot on the finance committee, but I'm willing to step aside, so if, Joe Bowman is born, I'll see if they want to stay, then, we'll step aside, make that a 3-member committee.
Any updates, Albert?
Or,
Do you want me to make those updates in here? Or you do?
yeah, I'm still right now.
So that'll move us on, I guess we can start with getting our 4s down to 3s first. So Public Works, we have any, now, Ms. Morton, Mr. Bowen, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Camacho, anyone would like to step down from that?
Yeah, I can step that down from that one.
Okay. Moves on to Public Safety, currently has Mr. Campbell, Mr. Bowen, Mr. Camacho, and Ms. Quisnell.
I could step off now.
Okay.
I still have the other activities.
And then, all right, since Ms. Bro was absent last week, there's several that have 2 or other ones that can be an alternate. If you, anywhere you feel you'd like to learn some more, or get involved.
So you need 2 on the lodging,
Just one.
just 1.
I don't think we need to, but I mean, we could have, is there some that we could have alternates and then some of them that have 2 to have 3? Ms. Bro.
On the lodging, on some of them, you can have alternates. I think the prerequisites on the lodging tax said as a single council member. For it,
And all of them was permitted.
it's not to my knowledge,
Okay.
but on others it is.
Okay. Facilities ad hoc is there just 2, that one, and then of course, collective bargaining has 2, comprehensive finance has 2.
One of the other committees too that was still the same was Spokane Regional Transportation Council, SRTC.
Yes.
They have meetings during the week, didn't they? Yeah, which I think it fell on my work days, so that unfortunately didn't work.
Yeah, all of the regional ones are tough for some of us, as far as when they meet,
Yeah,
but the internal ones we can set our own schedule.
yes. I mean, I'll do the alternate and for the Fairchild, if you need that. And then the comprehensive plan and the collective bargaining, I'll be the 3rd.
Okay.
So I recorded all those that I heard and just repeat those back. Sure, I didn't miss anything. On the finance side, council said we remove Davin Perry, Public Works, remove Larry Bowman, Public Safety, remove Bill Campbell. And Ms. Burrow identified her desire to be alternate for the Fairchild Subcommittee, Comprehensive Plan and Collective Bargaining.
Well, I was going to ask if anybody wanted to take over for me on the finance committee. I'm willing to step down from that as well. So, I mean, I think it's really good for newer members to be on that as well, only because you get to learn a lot about where our money is and why. and all the different accounts or that we have monies in. So would there be anybody? Go ahead.
Even if you step down, well, you step down, there's gonna be three, so,
I stepped down too.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Put me in there.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you, Jesse, for taking that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very interesting spot, so.
Yeah, I think that one's always good to know which pot of money stuff's coming from and why, and working with our clerk treasurer to especially learn, about the purse that we hold as the council.
So council, unless you have other changes, we have someone in every spot for an assignment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good.
Okay, with that being said, what would council like to do with the stated newly committee assignments?
Yeah, what about the rest of these on the bottom, like the Spokane Transit Authority? Is that just one? Or do we need three in there too?
Just
Oh, okay.
Held. First to approve,
Move to approve.
first by Mr. Twining, is there a second? Second by Mr. Camacho. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Since he muted himself, it's gonna happen.
Aye.
That passes unanimously 6-0 for council committee assignment. All right, that moves on to item E, the federal legislative agenda.
Thank you very much. Council, last Monday, you had an opportunity to hear a briefing from John Colton, who is the city's federal lobbyist. He shared and presented a list of draft policy items or agenda items for the city council to consider memorializing for agenda here in 2026. This evening, we're asking the council to consider the adoption of those lists of agenda items. We also discussed during the course of John's presentation, certainly circulating those out to the city council to see if there were any additions or changes relative to the proposal. Thank you for those who had an opportunity to send me some information on that. So as I noted earlier, this evening, we're asking the city council to consider whether or not it would adopt this particular legislative agenda for the federal side. And separate and apart from this, I'd also ask the council to consider whether or not we could send a delegation, small delegation, or anyone back to DC to help advocate for these particular items. As John noted, adopting the agenda is beneficial, but similar to Olympia, it's always beneficial when the congressional delegation can have a space time and opportunity to meet with individual or an individual from the respective community. It makes a world of difference. So just something to consider. We'll need to start planning for that particular trip and start planning at the meeting as well.
Yeah, Mr. Tripp, on that, I would love to attend DC with you again if it's helpful.
When is that one? When is that?
Hasn't been set yet. John's recommending that we do it sooner rather than later. And I raised a question because ordinarily we would, actually last year was our first year, and so we tried to budget for that. But coming into this year, we didn't put a proposed budget in for the UK trip. So there's not a budget set aside for it. It would be above and beyond. So that's why I raised the question as to whether or not we want to send a small delegation or we want to send a single representative back to DC. But the initial item for the council is the action upon the federal legislative agenda. This would serve as the city's agenda on these federal items that we discussed last Monday for 2026. Several of which, as you know, were items on the agenda for 2025. We'll introduce them to our congressional delegation. This would give us an opportunity to hopefully make progress on them, solidify, get them across the finish line.
All right, and on that note, Mr. Tripp, I know afterwards, I'd asked for the full PowerPoint presentation. My scroll isn't working right now. Is that able to get sent? I missed that.
I think I shared that day.
Okay, yeah, because I see that now and I can't. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, council, what would we like to do about the federal legislative agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
First by Mr. Bowman, second by Ms. Morton. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously, 6-0. All right. We're going to item F, the CRT grants interlock agreement. First, probably wrong.
On the, I don't know if I saw that on the agenda, my bad. I'll let it for it, cause yeah.
Oh, this is the one with Cheney. My bad, sorry about that. This was request to sign an interlocal agreement for the city of Cheney to be a subrecipient of the MHFR grant for the crisis responders, where we share our crisis responder. We employ the crisis responder, but we share that with Cheney. So asking you to share this with the city of Cheney and be able to award that grant them as a subrecipient through our city.
Okay, Chief, any comments, questions from council?
What is MHFR?
Mental health first responder.
Thank you.
Mhm. And CRT is crisis response team. And they basically cover the West Plains between us and Cheney. And then we share that grant and provide service throughout the week.
Okay. How many, do we have somebody writing with police officers?
Yes, we have those clinicians, master's level state certified clinicians that help people in crisis, mitigates risks for those people and our officers at the same time. That way we have somebody able to spend long-term time with those people that are well-trained and have those licensures to be able to take care of those people that are in crisis. Mitigates a lot of risk. And then we also develop opportunities for them to go into our other diversion program, the law enforcement assisted diversion program, for long-term substance abuse issues and other issues as well.
Now, when you dispatch, these substance abuse professionals, is it based on the type of call, or do they actually ride all day with it, or just respond with the officer once the incident is identified as being someone with a mental challenge? Or
Yeah, basically my perception of all calls are potential crisis calls, because people don't usually call us when they're doing well. They usually call us when they're in crisis. So we try to get Officer Ilsley is our officer at HPD, and then Officer Fell is Cheney PD's officer. And then they both have co-responders, clinicians that arrive with them Monday through Thursday, and then Tuesday through Friday. And then we cross connect and cover each other on Mondays and Fridays in between our communities. And then we share resources depending on the crisis. They're also the crisis negotiators as well. They're well-trained crisis negotiators for those people having mental health crisis that might be in a need for negotiations as well. So,
thank you, Chief.
you bet.
And then, Chief, isn't there additional, if I remember correctly, additional grants that help pay for this, or is this all within the CRT grant?
The lead grant is the ART grant, and then the MHFR is another sub grant, but they are City of Cheney is a sub-recipient, and we've been working with them on this program for the last few years.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, council? What would you like to do about the CRT interlocal agreement?
Move to approve.
Here we go. Okay, first by Mr. Camacho, a second by Mr. Bowman. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimously 6-0. Moving on to item G, the public defender job description and position authorization. Mr. Tripp.
Thank you very much. Council, last Monday, we talked about the creation of a public defender position and the request of council to approve or provide the authority for the development of it. We said that historically the city has contracted for public defense services, which served this purpose in the past. However, with the growth in which we're seeing, what we've recognized is a inconsistency in the level of service we receive. We also see challenges with when a notice is given by the contract public defender, it creates turnover which is not good for the clients and share representative. They get handed from one person to the next. We're trying to increase the level of service by providing better continuity and also providing for more consistency in the handling of these respective cases. We're proposing the creation of this particular position to replace the contracts that the city currently has in place. At your last meeting, you'll recall, I also shared a proposed contract with someone who could do supplemental public defense. And that was designed to be able to supplement a full-time person for when they're on vacation, when there's schedule outages, so that that caseload could continue to be represented. And that so that individual could also take off a third cases, so this one position is just not inundating. You might recall, this is a moving landscape. We've talked about it with regards to how the state is continually making new regulations that seems to lower the number of cases a single public defender can represent. I would expect you to probably see this evolve over a period of time, because right now we're working on a surface where the current case standard is X. That doesn't mean it might not change in the future at all. But in terms of our respective need, we're proposing the creation of this position to cure for those current cases we got. The estimated salary on this is $85,000 plus benefits. We also shared how this position plus the supplemental one is designed to fit within the amount the city's historically been paying on a contract basis, roughly $162,000 per year.
Any questions from council on the public defender job description and position?
So this would be the lead person, because I probably zoned out, but you were speaking about a supplemental as well. This in front of us is for the actual position, not supplemental.
You're correct.
Okay.
And then, Mr. Tripp, as far as caseload is concerned, that's actually regulated by the state, correct? So we don't have options. We can only provide them what is legally allowed.
The overarching framework is by the state. There is some flexibility given with regards to how each case is weighted. That's the next phase that we'll be doing some work in to update the city ordinance to make it reflective of what we believe the local needs are. That is to say, the state of Washington has already identified for this type of case, we believe this level of effort is required. Having said that, not all cities are individuals or uniform. I believe some individuals can process those cases in a more timely manner than what the state provides for. And so we'll be coming back with modifications in that area. So a long way of answering the question that, yes, the state sets the framework, but there is flexibility for the cities to make some modifications.
Any further questions? What would like to do about the public defender job description and position?
Move to approve.
First by Mr. Camacho, second by Mr. Campbell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passing unanimously 6-0 as well. We've got item H, the planning commission appointment. Not seeing Mr. Becker in chamber, so Ms. Cotman.
Oh, thank you very much. Filling in for Mr. Becker throughout the remainder of the agenda. We have a vacancy on the planning commission, and we have had an application. Mackenzie Dontigny has applied for this position. This information was shared with the planning commission. Then we've provided a briefing on our application materials. We're recommending that the city council appoint Ms. Dontigny to this position.
Any questions, comments from council about the appointment of Ms. Mackenzie Dontigny to the planning commission? Is our desire this evening?
Move to approve.
First by Ms. Bell,
I'll second that.
Mr. Bowman. For discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Will pass unanimously 6-0. We've got to item I1, the interlocal agreement with the City of Spokane for building services. And Ms. Chapman.
Thank you. This was also briefed previously with the city council. This agreement with Spokane provides service in 3 different ways. One is it provides a building official out of the current city of the city of Airway Heights in the building department. And so the need to have someone to review issues that come up in the field for a building inspector or questions from a contractor or an architect on interpretation of the code or supporting a code official on an issue of life safety. That allows us to reach out locally to someone who can assist us with interpretation. It also provides for the ability to do consultations with development. So we do pre-development conferences upon request with prospective purchasers and developers, and there's a need to know how building codes may apply to a remodel or to new construction. And this agreement also provides for what we call plan review, which is the actual review of residential and commercial plans to ensure their conformance with the 2021 international codes for building, mechanical, plumbing, structural, and so forth. So this allows us to put out into service those projects as they come in, and it diversifies the number of what we call third-party reviewers available to us. So that as we have a number of projects come in, we have more third-party reviewers so that we can continue to work on ensuring timely reviews of projects for our building department. This interlocal agreement was also presented to the Spokane City Council today during their study session, and it's anticipated to also move forward in the coming weeks to City Council for adoption of this interlocal agreement between these two agencies. We're recommending that the council approve the agreement subject to the final agreement of the City of Spokane.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Any questions about the interlocal agreement? City of Spokane.
Is this a new position or did we always have somebody in here?
Yes, we have had for 18 years, the building official that resigned from their position at the end of 2025. They provided some plan review services, but they also provided the other area I just described, and will be filling a vacancy in 2026. But this cross agreement with Spokane allows us to continue with business in the interim.
Thank you.
What is the desire of council?
Move to approve the request for the interlocal agreement for building services.
Well, first by Mr. Campbell, and second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Camacho will be a second by Mr. Camacho. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll pass unanimously. As well, moving on to item I2, the scraps interlocal agreement. So that's infringement?
Yes. I actually prepared for this one. Thank you. Chair and Council, this purpose is to try to work through this interlocal agreement for animal care and control services in the city of Airway Heights with Spokane County scraps. There was a few questions that came up in the last study session that we had. One was, what is the total amount of the increase for the city of Airway Heights under the proposed ILA? It was expected to pay in 2025 was 21,000. In 2026, the estimate is about 47,500. But will change due to expenses and licensing revenue. And I'll go on to tell you about the cost recovery models and some of the things that we'll have to do that. Will the increase be funded through higher pet owner registration fees or licensing? It won't. The increases can be offset by licensing. Currently, I think with the original figures, they told us about 10% of the people in Airway Heights have their pets licensed. So it would be nice if the other 90% could help us. So Corporal Johnson and our team will work diligently to try to do about quarterly education campaigns with our social media partners at Ellis Media to try to facilitate licenses for the pets. And then we'll work with our partners at Scraps to try to get that done. And then that will help offset those costs exponentially. Corporal Johnson has a copy of the current Scraps license we can pass around. Is that correct, Corporal Johnson?
Oh, I don't know where.
Okay.
But I can tell you what they brought.
Okay.
That helps. So, just for your regular pets, dogs, they're spayed or neutered, run $25. If they're not spayed or neutered, they run $50 a piece. Cats run $15 if they're spayed or neutered, and if they're not, it runs $25. So they do give a discount. Seniors get a discount of $5 for one cat and $10 for a dog. That helps. And then there are donations that people can make when they sign up. You can do this online. It's super simple. It'll probably take you 20 minutes to do the whole entire thing.
What That'd be fun as that. Who do we consider seniors? What's that age group? I mean, I'm just curious, because, you know, I hear senior all the time. Some say 55, some say 65.
I would think 55 plus is good.
55.
And we do have the council's adopted a definition of senior, definition for low income within the administrative fee resolution, which we utilize for purposes of providing discounts on the discount water program or utility bills. So we would seek to standardize the same definition across the board.
Okay, and this program, is this something new for Airway Heights? So we've never had this before?
We've had some ILAs with scraps before, but they've kind of changed. They've kind of changed and they have a new director, some new programming. We're clearly working alongside them as our partners to try to facilitate a better role of service, but also mitigate our costs as we move forward through some of the things that we're going to try to work through. The licensing being one of them. If only 10% of the people, the pet owners have the dogs, cats licensed, it would help if we can at least get to somewhere in the middle, and that will help offset our costs exponentially.
Yeah, that's why I asked,
Yeah.
because I always thought that, you know, that was a policy and or an ordinance that your
Yeah.
pet had to be registered. I know mine is that. Now, when I hear 10%, that explains why I get attacked every time I walk my dog down.
Yeah. We'll be working with the council to update the ordinances to try to reflect some of these things and then we will try to work with our community. But then if people aren't compliant, then we'll have other ways based on the ordinances to facilitate a future opportunity for them. And I think everybody, at least I love my pets. And so whatever we can do to facilitate a great community and take care of our pets at the same time, we're trying to push this program forward with that. So
I sure hope so, Chief, because 10% we're hurting.
yeah. Well, that's something we're gonna definitely work on, and because that'll definitely defer our cost overall. And that's this new model. Another question was, what's the new model? And it's a cost recovery model, and we're billed monthly. So we'll look at try to mitigating costs, and then Corporal Johnson and our team will try to look at each month as we're billed, how do we look at that and how do we mitigate some of those costs for the citizens, and then continue to try to do those quarterly marketing campaigns, talk with our citizens and say, and then work through the process through ordinance to say if people aren't getting their pets registered, then we have to have another recourse. If they're just refusing to do it, then we'll put some fines in place that we'll try to mitigate through our rights courts.
I was going to ask on question 5, because it doesn't address any penalties, and currently we have no penalties under city ordinance.
There's not a great structure. There is something there, I think, but we'd like to update that, and we'd like to try to work with our courts to try to make sure the costs come back to us. I'd like those costs, if we do have to ticket somebody, the costs come back to the city. Well, I can't guarantee that we can do that, but I'm going to do some more research and see what we can do to see if that comes back to help us defer these costs. I'm trying to work on multiple different faceted approaches so that we can try to defer costs at every level and then try to get compliance with all the people in our community that have pets.
Any other questions from council? What we like to do about the Spokane County scraps interlocal agreement?
Move to approve.
First by Mr. Camacho, second by Ms. Morton. Not any further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimously 6-0.
Thank you.
Chief, I'm going to sign the ordinances. Item J, the section ordinance C-1112, 6 and easy PUD plat. Yes, you've got it.
So this is the ordinance for the actual planning and development, which again is a type of rezone. So ordinance C-1112 is in your packet. It identifies a number of proposed conditions of approval in addition to the whereases, which simply outline the process history of the application. And we're recommending approval of the ordinance and authorization for signature by appropriate parties.
Have the ordinance read into the record.
An ordinance of the city of Airway Heights, Washington, providing approval with conditions for the 6th and Easy Street Planned Unit Development, LUA 2025-0001, and providing for other matters properly relating thereto.
That being said, any final questions from council? What is already called our ordinance C-1112?
I move to approve ordinance C-1112
First by Mr. Campbell, second by Mr. Rowe. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That will pass unanimously, 6-0. Moving on to item K, the second read of ordinance C-1113, Airway Heights Municipal Code 2.32, establishing the prosecutor's office. Mr. Tripp.
Very much. Council, this evening, we're asking you to consider the ordinance before you for the creation of the prosecution office. We noted during the study session last Monday that the creation of this particular office was necessary for the city to receive something called an ORI. That's a prerequisite for the city to have certain fees remitted back to it from the state of Washington. Through the development of this particular ordinance, we would be able to obtain that ORI, and then when there are specific fees that our prosecutor levies on behalf of the city, be in a position to receive those payments back. And so this evening, we're asking the council to adopt this proposal.
Mr. Tripp, and we'll have that ordinance read to the record.
Ordinance C-1113, an ordinance of the city of Airway Heights, Washington, adopting a new chapter of the municipal code titled Chapter 2.32, Office of Prosecuting Attorney and other matters properly related thereto.
Thank you, Ms. Moses.
Mr. Chair, I made, sorry, so the way for that made a mistake in terms of this is actually the first reading.
I have second read.
Sorry, okay, good catch, so I need to make sure. Any final questions from council? Now that, what is our desire on ordinance C-1113?
Move to approve.
The first by Mr. Camacho. Second by Ms. Rowe. Not any further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
That will pass unanimously 6-0. All right, moving on to item L, the first reading of ordinance C-1114 NFC franchise agreement. Mr. Tripp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you noted, this is a first reading of this proposed ordinance, which seeks to provide a non-exclusive franchise agreement to NFC Northwest LLC. This is a vendor seeking to use the city right away for the telecommunication purposes. Pursuant to the statutes that we note here, the council has broad discretion to be able to authorize that and regulate the use of the city right away for these purposes. This is the first reading of this proposed ordinance. We are scheduled to bring it back to the council on February 16th for action.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp, and we'll give those no action tonight. We'll read into the record. Street.
Ordinance number C-1114, an ordinance of the city of Airway Heights, Washington, granting NFC Northwest LLC a non-exclusive franchise to construct, operate, and maintain a fiber optic telecommunications system within the city of Airway Heights, Washington, and setting forth the conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise.
Thank you, Ms. Moses. Moving on to item M, the first reading of ordinance C-1115, establishing the ADA transition plan. Mr. Flug.
Good evening. It's first reading of the ordinance to approve the ADA transition plan and bring it back on 2/17/26 for a public hearing and second reading and hopefully adoption.
Mr. Flug, Ms. Moses.
Ordinance number C-1115, an ordinance of the city of Airway Heights, Washington, adopting an ADA transition plan and providing for other matters properly related thereto.
And that's first read, so we'll take action in 2 weeks. We'll move on to resolutions. Item N, resolution 2026-002, the 2026 administrative fee update.
Adding the additional fee for the roundup feature for the nickel at the rec center for cash transactions. Resolution 2026-002, a resolution setting the administrative fees provided for in the Airway Heights Municipal Code.
Any questions from council? What is our desire in resolution 2026-002? First by Ms. Morton. Second by Mr. Campbell. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That'll pass unanimously 6-0. Moving on to our final resolution, item O, 2026-003, the 6th and Easy PUD plat.
Thank you very much. This is an accompanying resolution. This resolution is for the subdivision of the property. First ordinance with regards to the overlay zone or PUD. Again, this resolution 26-003 is with regards to the creation of 10 proposed lots for the development. It contains the history of the processing of the application and includes the conditions of approval for the development of the final subdivision, or what's called the final plat, which includes things like meeting public works meters for roads, dedication language, which needs to occur in the plat and so forth. We're recommending approval of this resolution.
Troutman, any questions from council? What is our desire on resolution 2026-003?
I move to approve resolution 2026-003 for the Sixth and Easy Street PUD plat.
Okay, first by Mr. Campbell. Second by Mr. Camacho. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And pass unanimously 6-0 as well. Moving on, nothing in the Transportation Benefit District, moves on to citizen comments. I'm not seeing any in chambers tonight, any online. Again, you can raise your hand feature. So we're able to see it last. Not seeing any online either, so that'll no calls for our workshop. We do have a call for an executive session, Mr. Gibbons.
The purpose of the executive session will be to discuss with legal counsel agency enforcement actions, discuss with legal counsel current or potential litigation, and discuss with legal counsel legal risks of current or proposed action. I would estimate 15 minutes. No action by the council will be requested, so we can go to adjournment afterward if the council would like to do that.
That being said, moving to executive session, immediately adjourn right after. Objection from council. So let everyone disperse from the chambers here and online for and executive session at 6:22 p.m. So